And so I'm leaving the Lawrence Fish Market, and it's right here off of the river. This is Canal Street because of the canal. But it goes over this bridge, and it has a beautiful view from here. So this is all going over the river. Now, I don't know if this is the Chicago River North branch or which branch of the river this is. So, but again, you have a beautiful view going back, but this is all commercial. So this is the backside of Chinatown where the Lawrence Fish Market is. And you got parked the shop, which is retail shopping, but it's around all the commercials. So I don't know if these people that leave these businesses that are around here, these commercial warehouses and that, and they do have, this is off Chinatown, they have Ocean Grill Bar. And again, Lawrence Fish Market could provide the seafood for them. Again, working with Chinatown. And then you have 18th Street, 18th and Canal. But you have this big vacant lot here. And it does have, and let me show you going over the bridge and go back around, but this big vacant lot that's on the other side right here. And then as you go up the bridge, you get to see the view. And we'll not go up to the top, but I guess I can go on the back side of this. And so right here is the rail yard. And then you have this corner lot that's totally empty. And then down here, you have a storage facility. And all this area down here, this is all commercial. So this is all commercial warehousing and so on. And this is where they moved Pacific Gardens to, right here on Canal Street, off of State Street, and where now the Jones College Preparatory is. And they moved Pacific Gardens over here. But Urban Ministries could open up right next to Pacific Garden. I don't know. I mean, they can work together. One thing Pacific Garden has is Unshackled. It has radio stations that Urban Ministry does not. So they can teach radio careers, and they can talk about religious broadcasting stations like K-Love. Yeah, K-Love could work with Pacific Gardens. Christ died for our sins. Yeah, he opened up the gateway. He allowed us to be able to be accepted into heaven. So, dying for our sins. So, they have a radio station, and as it says here, Unshackled, and they're right by UPS. And I don't understand. UPS needs labor, and here's the rail yards. They need labor too. And then up here, and this is for Pacific Gardens, talking about the people up here, all these malls. This mall up here, this is the start of retail, but you have the commercial rail yard. So it turns over from totally commercial to retail. But in this corner, you still have a commercial rail yard. And if the Sox are in the move over here, which would be a boom for this area, that they would need to figure out what they're going to do with this rail yard, because it doesn't fit within, so they would have to move the rail yard. But there's other areas they can relocate in and can bring a lot of jobs to a lot of other areas. But let's go in this little mall here. And again, I was to Jason's Deli's with my small group. I actually had a good meal at Jason Deli's with my small group. This is a while back. And here's Jewel. And then you got Drive Up and Go. They can, They basically drive up and they bring it out to you. So Jason Deli, we had a good meal. So you got Home Depot across the street, and you can know by the orange color. It's the back side of it, and it's its garden center. So Home Depot's garden center. But here, the garden center at Home Depot can liven these places up with floral. They don't have any floral bunkers out here either. Any floral arrangements outside. The mall is pretty drabby. But they have, now next to it is Cinnaholic. I love cinnamon buns and that. I used to eat them a lot as a little kid. And I like Cinnabons. And then, obviously, I eat a lot of Panda Express. Had good food from there. They had a shrimp steak combo, which was good. And then, I don't know what the pita bowls and plates, but I like pita and that. And then you have a FedEx office. You have a nail salon. And so on. And then there's an Uber. And what is this? Let's see. Rake Fixia. And then Rake Fixie. I don't know. Anyways, they're doing something to fix something. Phones. So they fix phones. So it's an urban. So urban, and I'm trying to figure out how this is cell phones, but it fixes phones, it looks like. So anyways, then you got a Popeye or Hooters to go, huh? Hooters to go. That's awesome. Never saw that before, but that's awesome. So I like Hooters. And then this is the Domino's. I applied that for a delivery job in 2005 before I worked for my brother. And they turned me down for a pizza delivery job. But anyways, they didn't need any more drivers at that time. I guess they had enough drivers. And I eaten at the Subway. And now they opened up next to Subway. Makes sense. They opened up a GNC. My friend Susie, she owned GNC. And I used to shop a lot at GNC before. This was years ago, but I used to go into GNC all the time. And so did all my friends. Like John Sr. I don't know if my brother did as much, but John Sr., I, and tons of my friends shopped at GNC. So it used to be a very big franchise. And then this is physical therapy, ATI. So having aches and pains. So again, and then you have a Walgreens, which anyone going to physical therapy would need what Walgreens is open and what GNC is opening. But the whole point is you're now moving out of the commercial side that's back there, and you're moving into a retail side. And so you got the big mall over here, and you got the LA Fitness gym, and you got the discount shoe store where I always shop, DSW. And then you got the anchor tenant right here that was here before this big mall, White Palace. It's been here for a while. And I eat it here, but, every so often, and, I have some mixed reviews. So not so much about their food, about their service. Anyways, and then there's Wingstop and Dunkin' Donuts next to each other. And yes, you can do deep fried donuts, but Dunkin' Donuts doesn't do that. But you can offer all kinds of deep fried donuts, truly. So you can make chocolate deep fried, they're old fashioned, and so on. Deep fried. You do them the regular way, then you deep fry them. So you can do anyways, it's just an added touch. So you're saying, okay, well, they do them in, yeah, but we're talking about just before serving them, you put them in and you deep fry them to warm them up. So we have Five and Below and Potbellies, but you have this big mall here, right? And now they're going to open up a lot more. And then they opened up a Portillo's. And, you know, I grew up on hot dogs. Truly, I grew up on hot dogs and that. I ate a lot of salad. My mom had a garden. And so we had tomatoes and radishes. And I don't know if we had carrots. I know we had tomatoes, and I know we had radishes. I used to love eating radishes. Oh, yeah, radishes. And I put salt on the radish. I would clean all the dirt off and that, and then I would put salt on the radish and eat the radish raw. And so I used to eat the radish like an apple. And so we grew radishes and tomatoes, maybe carrots. No, cucumbers for fact. Cucumbers, tomatoes, and radishes in our backyard. And that's where we got most of our vegetables from. And Farmers Market had seeds, and this is during the summer. So we had our own garden, our urban garden. So people talk about new. We had the urban garden, and we were eating from our urban garden, our vegetables. So, truly. So they have a Canal Street station going up, and so I wonder what the theme of Canal Street is going to be. Like I said, it goes from commercial to retail, and now it goes back to commercial, but I don't know what they're going to do with the old post office. So you have here, I don't know what that building is, and this is part of the post office here. This is the new post office. And I would assume this building across from it is part of the post office as well. So it is. And I don't know what this facility does compared to the facility across from it. And I don't know if they're connected underground either. So this one seems quite old. This is the new post office, and this one's been around since the old post office, probably. So this is all government property. So here's the old post office, and I'm still waiting to hear what they're going to do with this. It's a huge building. The new post office is a huge building. The old post office is a huge building. But in general, why has the post office struggled? Because you have here, you have the old post office right here, that nothing of it, generating no revenue. They built a whole new post office, and they still have to do maintenance of this. Truly, they can't let it deteriorate and so on. And so this is why the post office is failing. Poor property management. I mean, truly, poor property management. And so you don't just exit out of a property this big, costing you unbelievable millions of dollars, to build a new one, to do nothing with the old one, and just sit there and rot. And this is why the post office keeps on raising the prices of stamps. Not because they're well managed, because they're poorly managed, and the only way they can generate revenue, and then they say, well, we can't pay our workers more. Well, do you know how much mismanagement's at the post office? The reason they can't pay them well is because they're so unbelievably poorly managed. So, again, that means quality of people. Truly. It does matter who works for your organization. The quality of your employees drives your organization. And some reason we want to downplay this, but the quality of people drive the country. And here's BMO Harris, Bank of Montreal. Montreal's a great college city. It's supposed to be beautiful. And as my friend Ross said, he lived there for a while. He said it's like Paris. It's similar to Paris. Lots of outdoor cafes and very much a college town. Paris is more tourism than Montreal, but he said has a similar vibe like Paris, Montreal. And he said it's just an incredibly awesome city. So, you know, this property management is a big deal. And our federal government has done a horrible job. Our state governments do a horrible job. Our county and local governments do a horrible job managing their real estate. I mean, unbelievably horrible job. They waste unbelievable amounts of money. They don't care about their exit strategies. They just build something and think, oh, the taxpayers will just fork over more money. Truly, that's how they think. So they don't worry about it. We're a business. The shareholders want to know, you're leaving this building, going into this building. Why the hell are you doing that? And where's the money coming from? Truly, accountability. But shareholders, like in the post office, the government owns these things, and people vote on these things, like Amtrak and these and streets and sanitation in Chicago. But how many times do they look down at the agencies the government's running and look at their efficiency and their ability to generate revenue, their ability to provide quality services? The Department of Water, truly, and that. And when you're voting for the mayor of Chicago, do you ever ask the mayor of Chicago? Well, the Department of Water lost $2.5 million last year, and the water quality is horrible. And why is our sewage, the department, our water treatment plants, and they manage water treatment plants, oh yeah, they manage the sewage systems. Oh yeah, the water treatment plants manage the sewage systems, not the Department of Water. The water treatment plants manage the sewage systems. It's a sewage treatment plant, to be specific. And you say to the mayor, and it cost us blank, 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 and our water treatment plants are losing the city blank, 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 blank money, and the sewer systems aren't handling the flow. But this is what we call government transparency. It's the same thing. The president. And Mr. President, do you know the federal government controlled so much land, national forests? And how are you managing those national forests? And our forests and our desert are growing and our forests are dying. And how, Mr. President, are you managing our national forest? And our National Forest Service lost blank revenue last year. And why is that? Or, Mr. President, why has Amtrak been a loser? And how are you going to modernize and bring Amtrak into better management and better manage Amtrak's property and bring it into profitability? Or, Mr. President, how are you managing the national waterways? Truly, our national canals and that are managed by the federal government. We're talking about that. And asking the president, how are you managing this? How are you managing the CIA? How are you managing the NSA? How are you managing the FBI, the ATF, the DEA? How are you managing these things, Mr. President? The Department of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and all these things. How are you managing this? And it seems like that this and that, we're not talking just regulations. How are you managing the SEC, Mr. President? And how are you making sure our markets are better, Mr. President? Truly, how are you running these things? No one asked them the questions. Not of our governor, not of our president, not of the county board, not of the city mayor and the city government, the aldermen. And how are you managing these situations? How are you managing the public library system in the city of Chicago? And has the public library system providing quality service? Has it been revenue positive, or has it been losing money? And if it's been losing money, why has it been losing money? Truly. And then how can we turn that around? Our police force, how much are we losing? What are the crime rates in the different areas? How much does it cost us to maintain the police cars? How much does it cost us for ammunition? Because the more times they shoot the gun, the more liability. When they pull out that gun, lots of liability. Wrongful deaths and other suits go along with it. So when they pull out the gun, why are they pulling out the gun? What is the protocol for the police force when they can pull out the gun? Truly, when are they allowed? They do this in the military, rules of engagement, and it's very defined when you can and can't use lethal force, when you can and can't pull out the gun. And they define that. As you see with American Sniper and the scene I posted with, they'll fry your ass. But it's true, and it's a true story, and he's telling these situations, and his guy is right. And he doesn't want to go down, because if he unjustly kills somebody, it's not only the sniper who pulled the trigger, but his spotter, both of them are going to fry. So they want to make sure that they're justified in this action. And this is why you have rules of engagement. When you can and can't do something. And they need to teach them these rules of engagement. As you see them, do I have the all clear to pull the trigger? Or don't I? Can you verify this as an improvised explosive? They're carrying a grenade. But these are the rules of engagement. And they need to make them very clear. When should you use the taser? When should you use the mace? Truly. When somebody resists. What is the protocol or the rules of engagement? Truly. What is the rules of engagement with pursuit? When can you? When is a high-speed chase authorized? When is a high-speed chase not authorized? Truly. But they do everything randomly. And the car takes off and they take off. Well, maybe you shouldn't pursue. You got their license plates and everything. Unless the vehicle is stolen, you basically know the owner of the car, and they're going to tell you who was driving the car. So, and you got the license plates, you can reach out and contact the owner of the car. How do you do that? You go right to the Illinois database, and they have the information, and you can get the phone number, and you contact the owner of the vehicle, because they should always have an email and phone number all the time, at current email and current phone number. So they call the person and I'm like picking up. Are you driving your car now? Truly. But the whole point is, sometimes you don't engage. You're like, well, we know where you're going to go. So you can run away. Eventually you're going to go back home, and then we're just going to go to your house. So we'll just meet you there. Like the one time, the he robbed the gas station, and he wrote the stick-up note on the back of his paycheck stub. They went to the house, knocked on the door, he answered the door, and they said, "You're under arrest." No high-speed chase. They're like, oh, and they saw the video camera. I'm like, oh, your name? Oh, okay, look up the driver's license. Really? Take the picture from the camera. They can take it on their phone, the video of the business, transfer, take a snapshot with the phone, the picture in, and then feed the picture into their facial recognition system, which goes through the driver's license and state ID and passport, database, resident alien. They have to have pictures as well. And it goes through that database and matches the image. So they just take a picture of the video footage there from their camera of the perpetrator. And it sends it through the facial recognition or image recognition database. And they're like, oh, okay, so it is blank, blank, blank. And they did. They went over to his house and like, you're under arrest. And it was on the world's stupidest criminals. He robbed a gas station. He wrote the stick-up note, went in, and said, give me all your money, basically. And he wrote it on the back of his paycheck stub. So, some people just they're born to go to jail. But anyways, the whole point is, these things need to be specified. And this is why we have so many problems where these things aren't defined on the rules of engagement. And we need to clarify these rules of engagement. So, anyways, I'm down here, and I think that was the Under Armour store. I don't know.